Hello everyone, it's Ukeme. You're welcome to today's episode of Pages Highlights. Today, I'll be discussing the novel The Girl with the Louding Voice, written by Abidari. I read the audio version of this book from my Audible app, narrated by Adra Andel. Mama say your schooling is your voice. It will be speaking for you, even if you didn't open your mouth to talk. It will be speaking for you till the day God is calling you come. That day I tell myself that even if I'm not getting anything in this life, I will go to school and become teacher. Because I don't just want to have any kind voice. I want a louding voice. So this novel follows 14-year-old Aduni who lives in a Kati village in Nigeria. She has a dream to become educated, but then her father needs money, so he sells her off to get bride price from Morufu, a taxi driver, and an older man who already has two wives and children who are as old as Aduni. Against her will, she's forced into an early marriage with Morufu. For Morufu, his one desire was to have male children, which his older wives, Labake and Khadija, have been unable to produce for him. So he believes that Aduni would produce fine boys for him, which is like his main reason for marrying Aduni. Labake, on the other hand, is bitter. She feels like, who is this one that just came to take her husband away? Small girl, like you're as old as my daughter, and you're now my co-wife. So she transfers that aggression to Aduni, constantly maltreating her. But then the other wife, Khadija, seems to be kinder to Aduni and tries to teach her things, to draw close to her, and just become friends to her. So somehow, Khadija becomes like a comfort for Aduni in Murufu's house. So Aduni becomes really close to Khadija, who is heavily pregnant. Khadija actually believes that she's going to have a male child, which, unknown to Murufu, isn't actually his. But the pregnancy actually belongs to Khadija's ex-12 boyfriend. So Khadija seeks Morufu's permission to travel to her family home to, get prepared for her childbirth and to take Aduni along with her. But unknown to Aduni, Khadija had another plan. There's an history in Bamidele's family where they have to have this mystical bath before giving birth to a child. But then Khadija is really sick and it occurs to Bamidele that she might not actually make it. So he runs away. And unfortunately for Khadija, she dies. Adoni is frightened and confused, not knowing what to do. There's a norm in Ikati village that anyone who murders would also be killed. So she couldn't just return to Ikati village, to Morufu's house to let him know that Khadija was dead. She would be accused of murdering Khadija. So she runs away from Ikati village, and somehow fate brings her and Kola, who lives in Lagos and is in the business of outsourcing house helps to wealthy people in Lagos. Hopeless Adoni, not having any choice, goes along with Kola to Lagos and then begins another episode of her life. She's outsourced to a rich, wealthy businesswoman who they refer to as Big Madam. And but the payment for the job doesn't come to her. It goes to Kola. She's constantly abused verbally and even physically by Big Madam, who is, just constantly angry, constantly upset by her husband, who is like an unrepentant cheat. So, there in Big Madam's house, Adonis still nurtures this dream of becoming somebody in life, having a louding voice, just like she had proposed in her heart from the beginning. But in Big Madam's house, there's no form of education for her. And so she seeks solace in the house library, rather, and begins to learn from the Nigerian Book of Facts and Dictionary. Until one day, the house chef, Kofi, stumbles on an advert for scholarships for girls like Aduni and encourages her to apply for this scholarship. But Aduni is not very well educated, and I won't say she actually speaks Pidgin English. Pidgin English is also a lingua franca in Nigeria, but she speaks rather an unstandard English. Like Adoni's English is bad, and it's the kind of English that arouses humor from both the reader and her fellow characters in the book. She speaks really bad English, but she just feels like she speaks good English anyway. So she faces this new challenge with fear, not knowing how she was going to come up with an essay that would offer her a place in the scholarship scheme. And then there's a caveat in this scholarship scheme. And this caveat has to do with the fact that girls above 14 years couldn't apply, and then there's a need for a guardian to sign. And obviously, Duni doesn't have anyone to sign up for her. The chef who actually offered the idea to her isn't Nigerian, so he couldn't even sign up for her. But as fate would have it, Adoni gets in contact with Tia, who is a wealthy, privileged environmental consultant married to a respected doctor in Big Madam's neighborhood. So for some reason, Tia just piques interest in Adoni. She just liked her. Adoni exposes Tia to other areas of what life actually is, while Tia in return enjoyed the friendship and offered to teach Adoni. So she created time and begins to tutor Adoni on basic English language. Adoni, being smart, focused, and determined to become educated, to have a louding voice, actually looks inward and comes up with an essay, a compelling one, which she actually draws from her own personal experience of being forced into an early marriage and, of the path that life had taken her through. And eventually, this essay helps Adoni win a place in the scholarship scheme, affording her freedom and opening a path for her to actually achieve her dream. So I actually enjoyed this book, The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abidari. I fell in love with the character Aduni. I just loved her doggedness in trying to achieve her dream in spite of the challenges that life posed at her. The path to achieving her dream wasn't even an easy one, it was rough, but she sort of carried on with life with some level of boldness, with humor and courage, believing in herself. She learned how to affirm herself. She would tell herself that she was someone who was important, she was worthwhile, and she would become someone valuable in the society. I feel like the girl with the louding voice actually continues a long conversation about girl child education, early years marriage of the female child, even in the 21st century, and what you'd refer to as the modern day slavery. Because, even today in this 21st century, because this novel was set in Nigeria in the year 2014, and it would amaze you that even in 2021, young girls, underage girls like Adunia, still somehow sold into modern day slavery. They work as outsourced workers, outsourced house helps for people. They are endangered to sexual abuse, to all forms of abuse. Sometimes they might get lucky to be in homes where their big madams, would educate them. But other times, They just sit back and work, and the payment goes to the person who procures them. And this is modern day slavery. So this book sort of opens up this conversation. Adoni is amazing. She speaks non-standard English, which is actually hilarious to both the readers and her fellow characters in this book. So it goes thus. This morning, Papa called me inside the parlor. He was sitting inside the sofa with no cushion and looking me. Papa have this way of looking me one kind, as if he wants to be flogging me for no reason, as if I am carrying shit inside my cheeks and when I open my mouth to talk, the whole place be smelling of it. Sir, I say, kneeling down and putting my hand in my back. You call me? Come close, Papa say. I know he wants to tell me something bad. I see it inside his eyes. His eyes balls have the dull of a brown stone and been sitting inside hot sun for too long. He had the same eyes when he was telling me 3 years ago that I must stop my educations. That time I was most old of all in my class and all the childrens was calling me auntie. I tell you true, the day I stopped school and the day my mama was dead is the worst of my life. So that was Adoni's voice. I rated this book a 5 because I feel like it's well deserving of a 5. Apitari did absolutely amazing. I mean, to write in this sort of English from beginning to end deserves so much accolades. And in all of it, with the humor and everything, the point is still not lost. So I'm definitely recommending The Girl with the Louding Voice to you. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you actually enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the content I make, please consider subscribing to my channel by hitting on the subscribe button. Also, give this video a like, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you. See you again in another episode. Bye.